given. You have to allow the witnesses and the victims to participate. In this one in Kenya, the latest opinion poll, scientific, not done by ODM or PNU, done by Sinovet, says 61% of Kenyans say that Kenyans want this process to continue at the ICC. And that is very consistent throughout, because more than 3 months ago, it was 60%. So it's gone up 1 percentage point. Even with the margin of error taken into account, it's still the same. That is an overwhelming majority. It is clear from the ratification of the Constitution that more than about 67-68% of Kenyans wanted a new dispensation. A new dispensation where wealth, positions of authority and power does not influence the rights and fundamental freedoms of individuals. So that even if I'm a billionaire and I commit a crime and he's not a billionaire, both of us will be treated the same by the law. Now, nobody in Kenya in his right mind can say that we have reformed the judiciary. We have not. As we speak, we don't even have a chief justice. Nobody can say we have reformed the police. We have not. Because the same commandant of the AP force that were killing people is still the same commandant of the AP force. The GSU commandant, and GSU was very much involved, is now our police commissioner. The Attorney General is still the same. We have not appointed an independent director of prosecutions. So the whole judicial system has not been reformed. Now you have to ask the question. It is not just the reform. Let me finish, because I think you gave me quite a lot of time. But I have to finish this. Mr. Francis Mudhaura is de facto head of the civil, both de facto and de jure, head of the civil service, and as a result, even the head of the police. In fact. So how do you expect, I mean, when you see him with the police commissioner salutes him. Yeah. How do you expect him to investigate his boss or to even arrest him? He can't. How do you expect these people to investigate Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the Minister of Finance and Deputy Prime Minister and is very close to the presidency? How do you expect them to arrest Ruto? You can see there is controversy even now of his acquittal. Leave alone. So people are saying, if you can't even try the corruption charges that we all know land was taken, the witnesses were not called, the evidence that is there was not adduced in court, but it is there, everybody knows. So how do you want us to believe that you can try these people for these serious crimes? So unless what you want is to whitewash the crime, tell people nothing happened, make victims be victimized twice, and some of us are saying, no thank you.
Let is dying to say something.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, these are positions that people have taken. But let me clarify myself. Nobody in his right mind, leave alone Peter Kagwanja, would be arguing that you bring these people home no, 1,500 Kenyans would not have died. We would have gone to court the way they did in America in 2008. Wait for the judges to pronounce themselves on this matter. No, 2000. Yeah. 2000. Alcohol versus Bush. Yeah. Miguna. Yeah. And then they pronounce themselves. And whether we argue the way the American did, that the judges did not count the votes, they counted hands. As a country, we move on. And no Kenyan loses his life, and so on. The problem, why we have gone through this rigorous process of renovating our constitution, and talking about the rebirth of the nation, like we had died and resurrected, is so that nobody in 2012 will again engender the killing of our people by rejecting the authenticity of our institutions. So that 70% of our population agreed to this constitution. Why should we go to The Hague the community to establish structures that are going to ensure that in the future we don't have this occurring. So trying them solves only one issue. It does not deal with the truth. It does not deal with the issue of establishing mechanisms that prevent permanently or check permanently the recurrence of the same. And you can add another appendage here, that it does not in any sense address the problems of the internally displaced.
Can I say this?
Final word.
Yeah, final word.
Yeah.
We are not saying that the TJRC process, if actually put in place properly, should not proceed. And we are not saying the TJRC process is a substitute for the criminal justice system. In no society is everything collapsed into a TJRC process. What they want is absurd, because even in the US, there is alternative dispute resolution. But still there are courts, there are criminal courts. People are still charged and people are tried. Now the ICC process is not a kangaroo court like they are trying to portray. You could see the judges treating these 6 suspects very respectfully. They were given their rights. And the process is unlike in Kenya. You cannot bribe the judges. You cannot intimidate them. You cannot threaten anybody. So that is a process that ultimately will bring justice. If these people are innocent, they fear nothing. They go there, they establish their innocence, they come back home. We are saying, let that process come to its logical conclusion. Now, the processes in Kenya, the reconciliation and peace, for example, there is no war now, nobody's killing each other. That is a good thing, it can continue. We are also not saying these people cannot themselves right now, even as that one is going on, come and confess to their crimes. We are not saying they can't, but we cannot say, oh, you have to stop that for us to confess. If they want to confess, they are free to confess even today. So is that what they want? Secondly, it is not politics. So let them not turn a political, a criminal thing into a political thing. They have been accused of criminal offenses. They are facing specific charges. Let them take it, as Martha Karua says, quietly.
Okay, final word.
Final word. I agree the Hague is one out of the many solutions we can have. But the money used in the last hearing itself is enough to solve the problems of IDPs once and for all. If we were just going to a high court or something, a section of our court special, Meguna and other experts should be telling us how can we make our courts proof, interference proof, or kind of insulate them from all these interferences, so that we save all that, the fright by 40 or 50 members of parliament to the Hague and back.
The one who took them there.
Even including travel by activists like Miguna to the Hague. Itself would produce enough resources, spend enough resources that would be now used to give reprieve to the internally displaced. So that's the situation.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we don't have time to continue this debate. Stay tuned. Probably more cases next to the news.